لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك الملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك الملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك الملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Welcome to another edition of the program As You Answer the Call. I am Fatima Umar Hadija. Pilgrims' enlightenment is one aspect of the Hajj operation that is taken seriously by the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, and state pilgrims' welfare boards. This is so because it touches on the do's and don'ts of the Hajj as it relates to the Hajj rights and conduct of pilgrims. But the question is, how well are these campaigns carried out in order to prepare pilgrims for a successful Hajj? This is the focus of the main segment of the program, Making the Hajj and Umrah. Also in the package tonight, we shall discuss the history of the Arafat as a major pillar of the Hajj. These and more shortly. Stay tuned.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد.
Thanks for being there. We begin the program with the news diary, and top on the lineup is the commencement of pilgrims registration for the 2020 Hajj by some states. Let's get the details as presented from our studio. Staff of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, have been urged to be proactive and dedicated in the discharge of their duties in order to enhance operational efficiency at the Commission. NAHCON Acting Chairman Barrister Abdullah Mukhtar Mohammed stated this while declaring open a two-day workshop on Emerging Leadership Development Program organized by NAHCON in conjunction with Lomatics Consult Limited. The event took place at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. The chairman was represented by NAHCON Commissioner of Operations Abdullah Modibo Saleh.
I want to appeal to you or commend you or to urge you to take maximum advantage of this occasion to imbibe as much knowledge as is being emitted from the course organizer or provider, and to make sure it is used for all that will benefit from it.
And you still went around and we didn't change your label and you felt bad.
While delivering her paper, the resource person Noreen Saleh of Lomatics Consult Limited exposed participants to different roles of managers and the challenges organizations go through and how to find solutions to them. She also focused on the importance of teamwork for efficiency and sustainable growth.
What we need to determine is what makes us great leaders versus what makes us great managers.
Participants put into practice some of the lessons learned during the workshop.
The trainings it's an all-engaging and participatory training that tries to drive us from our current state and develop our innate skills on how to become influential and positive-driven leaders.
Key point that I've taken that I have never known before is for you to direct, to control a community or an organization, you have to understand yourself. You can be able to lead yourself before you can lead others.
Meanwhile, the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, has commended all its staff who took part in the 2019 Hajj operation for a job well done. NAHCON Acting Chairman Barrister Abdullah Mukhtar Mohammed made the commendation at a meeting with the Commission staff at NAHCON new headquarters in Abuja. He said the success of the 2019 Hajj was as a result of the support enjoyed from stakeholders, saying that the Commission conducted the Hajj operations without any financial augmentation from government.
لبيك.
Nasarawa State Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board has commenced the registration of prospective pilgrims for the 2020 Hajj from the state. The Executive Secretary of the board, Idris Al-Makura, made this known after a meeting of the board with management and pilgrims coordinators in Lafia, the state capital. He further said that intending pilgrims from the state are to deposit between 500,000 naira and 1.5 million naira, pending the official announcement of the actual Hajj fare for 2020.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا.
In a related development, Yobe State Pilgrims Welfare Board has also commenced the registration for intending pilgrims performing the 2020 Hajj exercise from the state. The chairman of the State Pilgrims Welfare Board, Bukar Kime, stated this in Damaturu, the state capital. Bukar Kime disclosed that the board has so far collected 300,000 naira deposit from prospective pilgrims from the state, pending the official announcement for the 2020 Hajj fare from the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك.
We will commence registration of intending pilgrims.
Also in Kaduna State, the State Pilgrims Welfare Board has announced plans to commence the collection of deposits from prospective pilgrims as part of the registration exercise for the 2020 Hajj. It will begin from Tuesday, the 16th of October 2019. Overseer of the board, Imam Hussein Oho Ikara, stated this while briefing journalists in Kaduna on the upcoming event. He said, intending pilgrims from the state are to deposit a minimum of 800,000 naira and maximum of 1.5 million naira, pending the official announcement of the Hajj fare by NAHCON.
When an intending pilgrim pays 1,500,000, he paid the maximum. Then he will wait until when the Hajj fare is announced by the National Hajj Commission. Then he will be called upon either to be refunded or to complete.
Alhamdulillah, if you are just tuning in, the program is As You Answer the Call, a public enlightenment presentation on the activities of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON. In order for Nigerian pilgrims to achieve Hajj Mabrur, a number of strategies are often put in place by the Hajj Commission to facilitate the smooth conduct of the exercise. These include constituting federal and state ulama committees to serve as guides to pilgrims during the Hajj. How effective was this arrangement during the 2019 Hajj? What needs to be done to improve on existing arrangements to avoid having pilgrims not knowing what to do sometimes? The program tonight provides answers to these and other questions in our next segment, Making the Hajj and Umrah. Please stay tuned.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة.
That's all that brought them from far away.
Beyond the weekly
From
pilgrims
their different
enlightenment
countries
campaigns mounted by the various state pilgrims welfare boards across the country, federal and state governments further also sent teams of Islamic scholars to Saudi Arabia to engage pilgrims on how to observe Hajj rites. This is in addition to having Hajj guides whose job is to lead pilgrims to places where Hajj rites are observed. Some enlightenment exercises have been carried out by Islamic scholars in the course of the 2019 Hajj. This notwithstanding, more needs to be done to address the challenges of having some pilgrims not knowing what to do at points where Hajj rites are to be observed, such as when to put on the ihram or doing the tawaf, among others.
It is centrally important for whoever wants to perform Hajj to learn about what he is coming or she is coming to do. I want to charge those who are organizing Hajj also to ensure that they leave enough time for pilgrims' orientation, pilgrims' knowledge, teaching of the manasik, so that at least whoever is coming through them would have had enough information on what to do, what constitutes the obligatory aspect, where to do it, when to do it, how to do it, and especially those things that nullifies one's Hajj.
The problem with the Enlightenment program is most pronounced at the registration of pilgrims in Nigeria, among other reasons.
Like what happened in this just concluded Hajj exercise, some of the pilgrims paid their, they got their seats only maybe some few days. In fact, some of them, airlift has already started when they got their seats. So such kind of pilgrims, and probably it's a new pilgrim who doesn't know anything about a Hajj exercise, practical Hajj exercise. Now he found himself in such a situation. Definitely if he's in Saudi Arabia, he's among the confused. So that is another factor that needs to be tackled and need to be considered. It would be good if the registration exercise could have been pre-planned. What I mean by that is, take for instance some countries like Indonesia, and the like. Sometimes, they take 5 years, in turn. You'll be depositing your money small, up till you have your, then they will assure you of your seat in so year. So you know that by that time you are going to Hajj, if Allah wills, of course. Now, during that period, you have an ample time to know the rigor, the rituals, top to bottom. You know everything.
Right from the beginning, some people, they are not ready to perform the Hajj. For instance, a person is sitting while somebody will pay a Hajj ticket for him with not knowing. They will just ask him for his international passport. Then he will start preparation by then. So actually improper or inadequate preparation is the major cause of all this issue, because despite of what people have been doing since, more specifically the Hajj committees, they are trying their own best, but you cannot start a program within twinkle of an eye and to expect a fruitful rewards from it.
This arrangement to guide pilgrims to Haram Masjid as soon as they arrived Mecca was part of the NAHCON's agreement with the Muassasa. The plan helped pilgrims in knowing what to do and what not to. The guides were handy to explain things to the pilgrims. But the absence of this arrangement in other aspects of the Hajj rites created problems for some pilgrims.
There is the need for the ulama more especially, because that's where the major problem lies on how to perform the Hajj, the practical aspect of it. Some of the pilgrims welfare boards like the Jigawa, which I know, they have a dummy Kaaba at the central mosque in Dusi, where they show how the circumambulation is being done practically there. And most of the states, I believe, they do embark on that. But when it comes to the reality, that's where the whole thing starts to fall apart. But if the ulama do engage the pilgrims wherever they are, including the Hajj guides, to show the new pilgrims that this is what you need to do. Some of the countries like Indonesia and the like, you will find out that they have a lead who leads them, a guide who leads them on all the aspects of Hajj.
Hajj observers stress the need for more collaboration between the ulama committees from the federal and the states. They also want the number of ulama on the committees to be increased, particularly that of youth and women.
What matters is who will deliver what is needed. If there are youths who can deliver what is needed, and the pilgrims will respect them at the same time, because that factor has to be looked into. Because whoever you take to guide the pilgrims, as I've said earlier, the pilgrims will respect him more if they know him right from Nigeria. But if they don't know him, there might be problem. There might be problem because some of them might not, adhere to what he's telling them. So this is it. So I think if a reasonable number of youths could be co-opted into the national ulama team, I think it will add colors to it because they have the energy, so to say, to move around, as you have said, from camp to camp. But at the same time, it depends on the cooperation from the respective states to achieve that.
Whoever went to Hajj as an attending pilgrims, he saw the actual collaboration and also everything moving in practical issue. So a scholar from state government is always moving with the scholar with the national team. If there's any consensus among the ulama, so the issue of the pilgrims will be solved very easy.
Taking advantage of modern technology, new approaches have now been adapted to create pilgrims' awareness.
Information technologists also, they have a great and vital role to play. They have to create some programs, software programs that will enhance the availability of teachings and will simplify the method for the people. Look at games that we are seeing. Even small kids can play football play. Even small kids can play very difficult games. They simplify it.
Key to effective enlightenment is for pilgrims to avoid the influence of non-officials, particularly pilgrims that have performed the Hajj several times.
What normally happens is, there is a certain percentage of old pilgrims who are used to, going to Hajj, and these kind of pilgrims forms most of the problems. The ulama and other officials faces with the new pilgrims, because they will carry the pilgrims, they will tell them, don't do this, don't do that, I am familiar with these things, don't worry about them, we'll show you the way, and so on and so forth. While the old pilgrim, whatever the officials tells them, that's what they do, because they don't know anything. So if such new pilgrims were not influenced by the old ones, you will find that you won't have any problem. As an official, you won't have any problem. But by the time you have 1, 2, 3 old pilgrims within the new pilgrims, and they are influencing them in one way or the other, that's where you have difficulties, in controlling or showing the pilgrims what to do or what not to do.
The consensus of experts on Hajj affairs is that NAHCON and stakeholders should speed up the process of introducing the Hajj savings scheme, saying that it will help prospective pilgrims have enough time to prepare themselves spiritually, economically, socially, and medically, among others.
You are still watching As You Answer the Call. Coming up next is Hajj and Umrah Education segment, where our guest, Dr. Yahya Mujahid, takes us through the history of the Arafat and its position as a major pillar of the Hajj. Let's hear the discussions.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك الملك.
Pilgrims assemble on the plains of Arafah on the 9th of Zulhijjah every year, which is the 12th month of the Islamic calendar, in fulfillment of Hajj requirements. It is the most important pillar of Hajj, without which Hajj is not complete. What then is the genesis of the stay on the Arafah? What Hajj rites are performed during the stay on the plains of Arafah?
You are at the Arafat ground.
On Hajj Talk tonight, Dr. Yahya Mujahid answers these and other questions. He begins by speaking on Arafah as a major Hajj rite.
Arafat is essentially, Rasul mentioned, Al-Hajju Arafat. The entire Hajj is Arafat. If one is unable to be present at the moment of the Arafat, which stand by the mid-noon of the 9th, and it expanded up to before the appearance of the dawn of the 10th day of Zulhajj. This is the period where every pilgrim, wherever he is expected to be in attendance.
What is the history of the plains of Arafah?
When you say Arafah, in a very simple word, it leads to the understanding, the comprehension, the knowing of a particular thing. The name may be attributed to a particular event, probably. It was said when Adam alayhi salatu was salam and his wife were descended from the heaven, they were descended into a different environment, different localities. So they kept on moving, searching for each other, until where they converged. They met at the ground of Arafah.
On the plains of Arafah are Jabal al-Rahma, or Mount of Mercy, and Masjid al-Namira. What can you tell us about them?
That Jabal, it is where Adam and Hawa met together. Perhaps they said this is part of the mountains from the paradise. Just like the Hajar al-Aswad by the temple of Kaaba, it was said it is part of the stones that was brought by Adam to the earth. The Prophet ﷺ, when he was at Arafat, the first time when he came, he landed at a place known as Masjidun Nimra, which is a place that a khutbah is said to address the entire world or the entire pilgrims.
What informed the demarcation of the plains of Arafah?
The Sakharat, the plain, which is very close to the Jabal al-Rahma. The Prophet ﷺ went there and he stood by that place. And he said, وَقَفْتُهَا هُنَا, I stand by this place. And all these places are Arafat. Wherever you stand, it is Arafat. So we can say in a nutshell, the identification of the circumference of the Arafat was made by Rasul alayhi salatu wassalam.
As was the case in the past, what Hajj rites are pilgrims expected to observe whenever they converge on the plains of Arafah?
The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, on the Arafat day, there is no day that Allah accepts dua, supplications, and what have you. So it is going to be a day that Allah accepts dua. But the Rasul said, what I said and what other prophets, I told you before, all prophets that came there, hardly see no prophet there. What myself and other prophets that came before me said on this particular day is the La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahul mulku wa lahul hamdu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir.
Why are pilgrims not allowed to observe Maghrib and Isha prayers at the plain until when they reach Muzdalifah?
This is how the religion asks you to do. The Prophet ﷺ moved Allah said, immediately then you move from here to there. Because there is also what you are expected to do. Even though essentially, in the Muzdalifah, you are expected to relax, to sleep after observing the Salat. Because it's in preparation for the task ahead.
Dr. Yahya Mujahid said, Arafat Day must always be on the 9th of Zulhijjah, as observed by all prophets of Allah.
All the activities of Hajj are numbered days. You see, when you remove 9, it will affect others. Like Ayyamu Tashriq. You see, the Ayyamu Tashriq is coming. The 10th, 11th, the 11th, 12th, 13th. Where Allah is talking there in the Quran. So, فَمَنْ تَعْجَلَ فِي يَوْمَيْنِ وَمَنْ تَعْجَلَ فِي يَوْمَيْنِ فَلَا إِثْمَ عَلَيْهِ وَمَنْ تَأَخَّرَ فَلَا إِثْمَ لِمَنِ اتَّقَى. You see, the Ayyamu Tashriq is mentioned there by the number of the days there. And if you touch the 9th of Arafat, then automatically other activities must be touched.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك.
That's it on this week's edition of the program As You Answer the Call. Join me same time next week for another package. Good night and thank you for watching.
إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك